Hey guys, I'd like to talk a little bit about Diablo Shareware today. So, before Diablo 1 was released, there was actually a demo version of the game, commonly referred to as Diablo Spawn or Diablo Shareware. In this version of the game, you could only be a warrior, and the maximum level, as has been discovered through experience, pun intended, is level 15. Now that restriction comes from the fact that only the first 2 levels of the dungeon are actually available for play. And even though it's pretty restrictive, this game offers a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed it as a youngster. I even once installed it on a school computer in 7th grade. You can see I'm almost at the max level here, but at level 14 the only monsters that give any experience whatsoever are actually Corpse Bow and Devilkin. Take a look at my gear. So the rings are actually some of the rarest items in Diablo Shareware because they cannot be purchased from a vendor, they can only be found. And the only monsters that can drop them are, once again, Devilkin and Corpse Bow, rather. I like to get gear with a lot of brilliance on it because I like to try to get my spells to a very high level. And there are enchanted shrines in Diablo Spawn, but of course they're very rare to find, just like in Diablo. But I do have my spells to a fairly high level, and you can see the variety of spells is limited as well, but you do get a pretty good selection nonetheless. And since you're such a low level, the mana cost is pretty low for things like heal. You can see I can cast Heal Other for a measly 1 mana, and when I get that healing spell to level 12, well, I'll be nigh unstoppable in duels. Perhaps one of my favorite things about Spawn is the value of gold. So, obviously, the first 2 levels of the dungeon, you're very limited in the amount of money you can get, but to a level 14, 15 character, the shops are going to sell you things that cost tens of thousands of gold. You could probably get a few hundred gold, if I'm not mistaken, for every run through, and it's usually best to just farm level 2, simply because the gold drops are so much larger. And you can always just create another game and go down to level 2 and pretty much skip level 1. And it's also possible to get max stats in Spawn, and that's done through the use of shrines. So you can see, even though I've never put any points into magic, dexterity, or vitality, I do have more than the maximum amount. For this reason, myself and the very few others who have played Spawn like to refer to a character as having 2 levels. They have, of course, their character level. Mine would be 14 in this example. And then your shrine level, which is calculated based on the number of stat points you have gained from shrines divided by 5. Going by the logic that you get 5 skill points per level. For every 5 skill points you get from a shrine, that's 1 shrine level. So it's often designated as shrine level 4.2, for example. If a character would have an non-divisible by 5 number of additional skill points. And when I say skill points, I surely mean stat points. Now, why am I walking around with this staff? Well, the staff is actually pretty sweet. You can see it has 237 charges of Charge Bolt, which can help you clear out a level a lot faster than you would otherwise just walking around with your sword. I've kind of been focusing on talking though, so I haven't really been going at top speed and using as many charged bolts as necessary. It does come with the additional cost of having to recharge it at Adria, but I think the added speed it gives you in farming a level is absolutely worth the price. At this point in my character's development, I go straight to level 2, and if I don't see Devilkin or Corpse Bow, I'll pretty much just make it. Another skill to develop when playing Spawn is knowing which items are worth picking up. And you're pretty much picking up things based on the sell price. Now, on my Shareware blog, I do have a list of what items sell for, but in general, any armor is pretty worthless. Even quilted armor, which is the best that can drop, takes up 6 slots and sells for, if I'm not mistaken, 50 gold. Whereas things like daggers, selling for 15, taking up 2 slots, or things like potions and scrolls, are really good for the money for the inventory space. The best item that you can generally find is a Book of Telekinesis. I forget the exact sell price, but I think it's something like $650, which is absurd. Completely much higher than most other items you would find, except for the rare blue. That turns out to be very good. So, taking a look at my gear again, I got this awesome armor, I believe from Wirt, who can give you really good armor, and other items as well. In Spawn, even though most of the magical mods are available, like prefixes and suffix, the base items are limited only in the fact there's no chainmail or plate mail. Pretty much every other item exists through the use of shops, and the only prefix, or rather suffix, that is not available is of speed or swiftness. However, in the one unique item that's ever been found, to my knowledge, in Diablo Shareware, the Needler actually has quickness as one of its mods. So even though it can't be found as a blue magical suffix, it is actually in the code of the game. Now I'd like to show you my sword. I got this baby from Wirt. It's very expensive, I forget the exact price, but you can see just a great example of how even really high level mods like Kings are available in this game. This is pretty much the sword that single-handedly won me a very few duels in the few duels that I've ever had in this Diablo Shareware. So there you have it, 53 armor class, 182 hit, 20 to 40 damage, level 14 character, all achieved within the limits of Diablo Shareware. So I hope this video brought some nostalgia back to its viewers, and If any of you guys would like to dare challenge me in a Diablo Spawn duel, I freely invite all competitors. You think you can beat me?
Not a chance.